Hey everybody, welcome to this little mini Soberful Life workshop. Say hello in the chat and just make sure that you do the little drop down thing so it says everybody. So this little workshop is called Finding Your Sobriety Superpower. Oh, Jenny in Honolulu, lovely. Winnie in New York, Georgia, awesome. Yeah. Okay, great. So let me just find my notes. So yeah, this is just a as part of your membership to Soberful Life, we're going to do some few more little workshops on different things and have some guest experts come in as well. So what we're going to cover today is shifting our perception that sobriety is a superpower. You know, a lot of us can come into sobriety and feel like, oh, it's the worst thing ever, right? I felt like that, like it's the worst thing ever. My life is over. I'm missing out, all of those kind of things. Who felt like that, or who feels like that now? Like, I accept I've got to be sober, but I don't, you know, I feel like I'm going to miss out. I don't feel like I feel like my life will lack because I will not be able to participate in alcohol and all the things I think that it brings. Who's felt like that and who feels like that now? Just put it in the chat. Hey, Jamie. Yeah. When he's saying I thought it was going to be terrible all around. Yeah. So that's very normal and it's part of the process. So sobriety is a process, and that means it changes. What we believe, what we see, how we feel will not be how it always is. And it's possible to get to a place where we feel like sobriety is a superpower. And I use that word, it's a fun word. And I want to tell you my experiences. I really believe that sobriety gives you an edge. It gives you an edge in lots of areas because so many people drink. And, you know, lots of people look like they're drinking and getting on and working and all of that kind of stuff. But not drinking is going to give you an edge, not necessarily over people. I don't want to necessarily be that we have an edge over people, but yeah, actually we do have an edge over people by not drinking. So the first reason for that is bandwidth. And you've heard me talk about this a lot if you've read my book or been in any of my groups, all that kind of stuff. Bandwidth is energy and space to think thoughts in your head. And so we have a finite amount of bandwidth, and we spend that bandwidth every day on different things. So in the past, we have been spending bandwidth on drinking and being hungover. Now, for me, I've spent more bandwidth on recovering from drinking than I did on the actual drinking portion. Who's the same? So that's a spend, that's an outgoing of energy, just trying to get through the day, feeling hungover, headache, feeling sick, all of that kind of stuff. That's an energy spend on something that, and the thoughts of regret, the thoughts of shame, and then the thoughts prior to the drinking, you know, shall I drink? Am I going to drink? How much am I going to drink? Should I drink? Do I have a problem with drinking? Blah, blah, blah. These are all outgoings, if you look at it like that. So what I want to do, so that's the kind of deal that's on the table. And a lot of you who've worked with me before, one of the things I do with a lot of my clients is the cost of drinking. So what is the cost of your drinking in time, money, energy, relationships, opportunities, all of that kind of stuff. So I'd love to get an idea of how much time you have spent on your drinking. Like, how much time in a week on average did you spend drinking, thinking about drinking, and recovering from drinking? Just do a quick little add up of that. I'm gonna, if I can remember back to when I was 27, oh goodness me, I'd say we would go out about 9 o'clock and we would come home about sometimes 3 or 4 on a Friday, Saturday night. So that's like 8 hours. 60. Oh my God. I'm going to say mine was at least 40 hours. My drinking was like, everything it entailed was a full-time job on top of a full-time job. So everyone do a quick calculation of how many hours they think. I'm going to take you through some exercises, and this is all relevant. Winnie, 30 hours, Kendall, 40 hours. Right? Let's times that by 52. $40 times 52. That's 2,080 hours a year, times by 10 years. 20,800 hours divided by 866 days in over a 10-year period. So that's what, 2.5 years out of 10 years that was dedicated to alcohol. So when you have a second, pop your number in. I think the time is a much more effective measure than money in terms of bandwidth spend, because you can always get money back. And I know it's annoying when we think about how much money we've wasted, but we can always get money back. We can't get time back. And that's a question to ask yourselves. In the next decade ahead, do you want to spend 2.5 years of that 10-year chunk? Do you want to dedicate 2.5 years to alcohol? Yeah. The perception is really interesting, isn't it? Because when I was in it, I would have never told you I was wasting my time. I would have told you I was having a great time. And I really wasn't. So my next question is, what are things that you used to love to do in the past that you're not doing now for whatever reason? So what stuff have you loved to do? Like one thing that I love to do, I'm probably not going to do again because I feel a bit more nervous now. I'm 50, but I used to love rollerblading. What did you love to do? Is there a sport? Is there a hobby? Is there something that really, really used to light you up? I used to do amateur dramatics. I used to love doing that. I did that in my 20s, and my drinking definitely sabotaged that. There was one play that I was in and my anxiety was so bad because I was always hungover. I just had to leave. And that was the last time I ever did anything. Tell me things that you love to do that light you up, that you either don't do or just don't do enough of. You just don't feel like you don't do enough of. Bree is surfing, going dancing with friends. I love going, I love dancing, and I definitely don't do enough dancing. Drawing, dancing. Dancing sober is awesome. Come to the She Recovers event in September. We dance. Mm. Jenny, playing soccer, being one, sports team, dancing, painting, being on a sports team. And sometimes it's life circumstances, right? You know, I'm 50 and I have elementary school kids, so my time is really like, I just don't have a lot of time to go and do things for myself hugely. We have been like snowed in constantly all winter, and I do a lot of jigsaw puzzles. It's just how I like, I want to do something different. I can't go out. I bought a TV. I need a break from work. I do a lot of jigsaw puzzles, and that might be an age thing. Now, my next question is, hold on, Christy loves horses, always wanted to become a rider as an adult and never yet made time for it, Christy, yet. You know, I have a lovely client who's in her 60s, who's just retired and is sober, and she does dressage. I'm not even sure I know what that is. It's like fancy horse riding. And she's so thrilled that she has the time and the health to dedicate to that. Kendall had a motorcycle for a while, but why has he got, yes, get rid of motorcycles. Yeah, oh God. Oh God, yeah, no, drug motorcycle riding. Okay, so my next question is, what burns inside of you? What burns inside of you that is not yet done? So for me, I really wanted to write a book, and I wanted to have a publisher. That burnt inside of me. I really wanted, I saw a lot of the quit lit, and I was like, I just see that people don't have answers. Like they have inspiration and identification, but not the how. Like, you need to have boundaries, you need to, and I wanted to put it in a book, and that burned inside of me for years. What burns inside of you that hasn't yet been done? I really, really want to get hike. Like, I want to do some of the famous trails. Like, there's one in Spain, and there's one in California. You know, that one that movie was based on, Wild. Is it Wild? Like, I want to do I want to get really good at hiking, and I want to be, when we hike here in Tahoe, we're very lucky because we live in a hiking place. I often see people well into their 70s and 80s, and I'm like, I want to be like that. I want to be like hiking. So I want to do some serious, I hike, but I'm, again, it's time, weather, kids, we do a bit. I want to kind of take that to the next level. I want to do hiking is something that burns inside of me to do more. I also want to do a TV show. I've got it all in my head. That's burning inside of me. I don't have a burning desire to write. There is a book I want to write on relationships, but Winnie, funny, I've lost touch with what burns inside of me. I don't know. So be in the square that you're on. If you're like, I know what it feels like to have something burn inside of you, but right now I don't feel like I have anything. Be on that square. Be on the unknowing of it, and see what opens up for you. Because I know for certain, when you're sober, when sobriety is a call to growth, and that's never going to stop. And what burns inside of us is these calls to growth, right? It might be travel. It might be something that is not known about to you yet. But if you keep going down a sober path and remaining open, something is going to appear. Michelle, I still have not found that special thing that I would like to do. Jenny, to know others and be known. It's been happening on a small level, but I want more. Interest. That's an interesting square to be on, Jenny. That's a square. How that manifests is unknown, and that's okay. Oh, Sandra too has a hike this May, Cape Wrath Trail. Where is that, Sandra, exactly? Just me and my dog. Mm. Okay, so this is what this workshop is about. It's about kind of throwing some stuff up for you to think about, and inviting you to see the gap between where you are and where you could be if you keep on this sober path. And that's your sober superpower. This, by the way, is my sober superpower. I never knew what I wanted to do with my life. Who knows? Getting sober is what gave me a career, and thankfully I've just always loved it, and I think I'm fairly good at it, and I love doing this. I love doing this. I just love doing it. I could just keep doing it. In all that, I love teaching. I tell you one thing else that's burning inside me. I want to do some in-person retreats, like proper few days, maybe like 5 or 6 nights, that kind of thing. I'm working on one maybe at the end of this year, I'll see. Call to growth. So so this goes back to the bandwidth, right? We've got this finite amount of bandwidth, and we have been spending it this way. Now we are not going to spend it that way. We're going to get that bandwidth back so that we are ready when that call to growth comes, and we want to spend it in a different way. Oh, thank you, Winnie. I wasn't fishing for compliments there. I say that as someone who just felt like I was very mediocre at a lot of things, still am mediocre at a lot of things, and was in the path was very mediocre at a lot of things. And I just feel really eternally grateful that I have found the one thing I'm quite good at. So if you're not, Winnie, I know you, so I know that there's something there. And often there's all of these different layers, and we're peeling off the layers as we return to ourselves. Oh, Northwest Scotland, Sandra. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Post some pictures. That sounds, are you going to camp? Is it a one-day thing, or do you camp, or do you stay in little hotels, or how does that work? Michelle is starting crochet class on Thursday. And also, don't feel whatever is burning inside you. It doesn't have to be like this, like I want to write the great American novel. It doesn't have to be that. It can be I want to really get my garden sorted out. I want to grow lovely plants. It could be, I really want a physical challenge. And whatever, it doesn't have to be like anybody else's. It has to be right for you. I think being open, I believe all of you have a sobriety superpower, a thing. It might just be really being a really good friend. It might be volunteering at your local hospital. Who knows? All of us have something. I truly believe that. And I've seen all my clients over the years do, I had one girl that I worked with probably 20 years ago now, and heroin addict, pretty dreadful story. Did lots of things that she was deeply ashamed of, including selling her body for heroin. She's now a mum of 2 and a local counsellor in her local town. Amazing. She's an activist. She's a local politician. Just incredible. We had no idea that was going to be one of her squares as she went along. 3 weeks camping, Sandra. There's the trail in California. What I've read about it is you can like carry all your stuff, which I will not be doing, or you can do it like the posh way and have someone do all of that for you and set up your tent for when you get there. That's the way I want to do it. So I want you guys to think about the bandwidth, the hours that you've got back. So in a 10-year period, we can get back 2 solid years and be open to how they can be spent. So my next question for you is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? If fear wasn't holding you back, what would you do? Sometimes one of the things I think about is like selling everything and like taking my kids on a like around the world for a couple of years and homeschooling them. I'm probably not going to do that. But it's one of the things that sometimes comes into my mind, like what an adventure that would be. Or buying an RV and doing it around like North America in that way. And my husband and I were tinkering with that idea a few months ago, actually it was more than a year ago now. And then we were reading up on it. And one of the things that it says about if you're going to do that is you have to be quite handy, because things often go wrong in your RV or whatever. And we're like the least handy people you've ever met. We're like, ooh. Jamie wants to move to live in the UK. Ooh. So this is my invitation to you to say what's inside of you that maybe frightens you, that's a little flame that flickers. Why is that, Jamie? Why is that? Christy homeschooled, yeah. Like living in a foreign country, like again, I've kind of toyed with that. I have a dog now and I'd never leave my dog, and so it all comes down to, can I get the dog there? Jenny, fear has to be somewhat healthy, because if I didn't have any, I'd leave my life, husband, and go start a webcamming career in Bali. Don't think that would be good. Do you have to leave your husband and career to do that? What is a webcamming career? What is that? Yes, fear is an emotion that's programmed into our DNA. So before we leave the factory, it's programmed into us, and we need fear to survive. Just think if you didn't ever experience fear, I mean, none of us would live. We'd just do stupid things and die. So we need fear to be alive. Fear can serve us, and that's what it's here to do. Is fear is here to serve us. It's a balancing. It's how we balance. We use fear to serve us. The problem with fear is that it gets out of balance and we don't know how to manage it. That's the problem. So that's one of the skills that we can learn in sobriety, is learning how to deal with fear. Jamie is deeply committed in Italy. I need to set myself free and move where I feel more secure. Yeah, and that, so being at the square you're on, Jamie, would be, I'm open to this as a possibility. I need to carry on with my commitments in Italy, but I'm open to that. You know, it's interesting. So I lived in America when I was drinking. I got sober in America. Then I came back to England, and then I dated an American. I wasn't planning on that. I wasn't ever planning of coming back to America. I fell in love with an American. Always then knew that that would mean probably that we would come to America together. And that opened up a whole different, you know, my life is different here than if I or we had stayed in England. It's being open to possibilities whilst being where you are. Again, that's about balance. Open to possibilities by being where you are, because none of us can just go, I've always wanted to save gorillas in Mozambique. Bye, everyone. And off you go, right? That's not really possible. Maybe we can go and do 2 weeks on a sort of service vacation or something. But what I want you guys to think about is balancing your fear, considering what burns inside of you, and considering what things did you used to love doing that you don't do now, because alcohol just kind of interfered with it. Alcohol just took up too much bandwidth, so you stopped doing this hobby, this sport, this interest, this thing? And what can we awaken to just be open to the possibility of? Charles, I like that too. I try to think of fear as an anxious friend with whom I must establish some boundaries. Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. So the question that we want to ask ourselves is, how is fear holding us back? Is it holding us back, or is it inappropriate to consider all the things that the questions that fear is throwing up for us? How is fear holding us back? You know, just back from when I started to do my training, and then you get qualified, and then you have to get clients, and all of that, these stages have had fear in them for me. And it was always balancing the call to growth and the fear of doing what I'm, doing what I'm called to do. It was always a balancing act. So my last question is, what do you think, or what do you think your superpower could be? I think mine is connecting with people. I think that's what mine is. I think I do that well. I think I do that well speaking. I don't think I do it as well writing. I think it's speaking that I do it well. I think that's my superpower. And helping get people out of their own way. What do you think yours is, or what do you think it could be, or what would you like it to be? Yes, Jenny, anger is a form of fear. Anger is just fear announced. Fear is often, yes. That's the resentment work will help with that, Jenny. If anger is blocking you, there's a lot of limiting beliefs around that. Limiting beliefs, Charles. Interesting limiting beliefs coming up. The journey back to self brings up fear. I fear it's just being selfish. Again, I think we were all told lots of stories when we were young about what's selfish and what isn't. So this is a good place to start. Michelle, I've always felt as though I'm pretty much a people person and love engaging with others. I agree. That's a square to be on, because owning that about yourself will lead you to another square. Winnie, I'm really good with little kids. They're drawn to me and I find they energize me. Oh, Winnie, that's interesting. Huh. That's just something to sit with, right? That's just something to sit with. I can kind of see that about you as well. Christy, I'm very good with people, but being introverted, and I guess fear makes me prefer being home over socializing many times. Christy, all that's happened there is you haven't worked out the balance. Introverted people they can be incredibly social and connect with others. They just need to manage their energy by having alone time. So I think you have some limiting beliefs there that you're telling yourself that you need to untangle. And it's okay to be, you can be very good with people and be introverted and balance your energy too. You can do all of those three things. So I think I see this a lot with introverted people, is they tell themselves that story, and they tell themselves a story that just means that they end up staying home. So there's something interesting there to open up. Who else? We've got a few more minutes. Don't should on yourself, Winnie. Take away the should out of that sentence. I think I should volunteer to do something with kids, yet I seem to have 100 excuses not to pursue it. Take the should out and re-say the sentence. Michelle, it's well known in my current job that I always can converse on all levels and always find a common subject to liaise with our diverse range of tenants. So Michelle, just own that. I wonder if you should have a promotion in your job. That's a really good superpower to have. So owning your sobriety superpower is a process. And it's uncovering, and sometimes it's missteps and sometimes it's mistakes in uncovering what is for you and what is not for you. And what burns inside of you that you really need to honor. That's kind of what I want you to leave with, is this is the question to leave with, to think about, to journal. What burns inside of you that you really need to honor? And sometimes it's just being on the square that you're on and being open to possibilities or considerations or all of that kind of stuff. And to ask yourself the question about fear: is fear holding me back, or does fear have some good messages that I need to consider? Like, I want to go and travel the world with my kids. Well, eventually they're going to grow up, and where are they going to go to college, and where are we going to live when we come back, and how am I even going to work, and blah, blah, blah. So, maybe we'll just do a month trip, something. Has this given you something to think about in terms of what's for you, what's not for you? Getting the first part of this was about, like, look, you all have time to do the thing that lights you up. You all have the time. That's not an issue, because we've got like 2.5 years back out of a 10-year period. Has this been helpful in beginning to kind of get some wheels turning about getting out of perhaps a holding pattern that you're in? Holding pattern is call to growth. Oh, I really want to do that. I really want to do. Oh, I'm scared. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. But I really want to do that. I really want to do it. Oh, but I'm scared. Oh, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Oh, but I really, really, really want to. That's a holding pattern. The purpose of this exercise, this workshop, was to get you out of your holding pattern. Just going to read a final few comments. Bree, I think my superpower is creativity and coming up with different ideas, whether it be for a kid's party or a work video or graphic design or a fancy dress outfit. But sometimes I feel like I can't focus on the one idea. It feels like there's too many ideas sometimes, and then I feel overwhelmed and don't do any. And Bree, what's underneath that is a limiting belief. You're telling yourself that story to not, I wonder if there's limiting beliefs about failing or not being good enough. So you're getting the call, oh, I want to, oh, that's really, oh, yeah, but I can't, oh, I don't know where to start, oh, it's all too much, so I just won't. Is that what's happening there? Winnie, yes, it's given me lots to think about. I do feel like I have much more time in my life now and more energy. Yes, it's definitely positive. Yeah, the wheels are turning, honestly, even after 3, I'm still tired from, yeah, I mean, it takes a while, Kendall. I think the first 5 years is about doing the personal development and working on yourself, and then and you can't, all of you are going to get so many calls to growth and opportunities, and not every single one is the right one or at the right time, but some of them are. And I think some of the trick is trying to figure that out. Jenny, to inspire and connect, that's mine. It's brand new and growing. Seems kind of unclear, but that's okay. Wonderful. Be there and see what happens. Yes, good to hear that we'll go from square to square. That's how it works. Being in the unknowing is an okay place to be. That's neat. That's not wrong. Being in the unknowing and being open, just be there. Yes, that might be it. But I guess I get excited by a lot and feel, and I can take it all on and get overwhelmed. Yes. So that's just the lesson, Bree, is that I'm aware that I do that. It's you know what might be helpful to you, Bree, is to do your human design. My human design is I'm a generator. Generators get shit done. I'm the kind of person who, when you recommend a book, before you finish the sentence, I'm on Amazon ordering it. Generators just want to get shit done all the time. And I find sometimes I can get too activated and too, I'm going to get that, I'm going to do that. And then I have to kind of take a minute and go, okay, what needs to be done now? What needs to be done by me? And what doesn't need to be done? So otherwise I can just do too much. So that's just a life skill. I would like to help and support others who are struggling. That's a great square to be on. Human design, Google it, Winnie. It's a thing. It's a bit woo. And you put in your date of birth and all this kind of stuff. And there's 4 different character types. I don't know. It's very true for me. And everybody does it. Just seems very true. So check out your human design. It's interesting. Okay, that's all we've got time for. I hope you found this interesting and helpful. I'm going to post in the group, so give me some feedback and let me know what wheels have been turning, what squares you're on, what's happening next, all that kind of stuff. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.